Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are finally doing the long-awaited every episode of Regular Show Season 2 ranked from the worst to the best. But of course you already knew that because, you clicked on the video. I know some of you guys have been waiting a very long time for this video to come out, so grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's go. I'll be honest, there was no doubt in my mind that this was going to be at the bottom of the list. Even though Muscle Man is one of my favorite characters, the same can definitely not be said for. There's really nothing to her other than she's just a girl Muscle Man. And also way more annoying. So it's probably no surprise that an episode that centers around her is annoying, dull, and just all around bad. And does anybody else find it weird that Muscle Man and Starla would stay together for the entire rest of the show, even getting married in Season 6? But in the first episode that Starla was ever in, they're already broken up for the majority of it, and Starla's trying to get with Mordecai. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like a toxic relationship to me. Also, the image of Muscle Man in the shower is something that I never wanted to see and also never want to see again. Now, this is very clearly just the pilot episode with some new added material, which you can clearly tell because of the animation changes. And it's cool, I guess, but as a Season 2 episode, I think it's just okay. Now, I hate to put another Muscle Man-centered episode this low on the list because, like I said, he's one of my favorite characters. And one of my favorite running jokes of this show is definitely my mom! But in this episode, they just repeat that joke over and over and over and over again. And I hate to say it, but it gets old. My mom! 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 Overall, I think this episode is okay. It's kind of funny seeing Benson get fired and become an even bigger slacker than Mordecai and Rigby, but everything else is just kind of eh. This is a pretty decent episode, but this scene is top-notch.
Mordecai, help! These boxes are too heavy! Mordecai can't help you, Margaret. He's too busy not asking you out. Oh, yeah, Margaret.
Another decent episode where we also get to see Benson being unusually nice.
Oh man, I appreciate that. You know I do. Yeah.
I swear, I do not know where the writers come up with the ideas for this show sometimes. Like, what the hell even is this episode?
Mordecai, your eyeballs are mine!
Once again, this is definitely a good episode, but this scene gets me every time.
Hey, I know. Why don't you just picture everybody naked?
Naked?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like doing this.
As somebody who never really got into Dungeons & Dragons, I can appreciate this episode for basically coming out and saying that it can be pretty overrated. But hey, even if you are a big Dungeons & Dragons fan, I think you'll still find this episode pretty funny. This is a perfect example of an episode that has an incredibly simple premise, in this case making a viral video, but they just do so much creative and crazy stuff with it that you really forget how simple it was to begin with. Everything that I just said about viral video also applies here. Like, only Regular Show could make an episode like this about two guys playing Jinx. Another episode where I have no idea where they could have possibly come up with the idea for it, but I'm glad they did because it is absolutely hilarious. And this scene will forever be a classic.
Do you have a better idea?
Yes, I do.
Yeah!
Honestly, I feel like Roger Craig Smith's voice just sounds like it was made for regular show. Not only does he play Doug in this episode and tons of other side characters throughout the show, but he also went on to voice Thomas, a recurring character in season 4, 5, and some of season 6.
Well, I don't mean to be negative, but it looks to me like that grass is an inch too tall.
Despite the fact that this skunk is pretty dang annoying, this episode is still pretty great. It's basically a werewolf story, but instead of it being about a wolf, it's about a skunk. Although, one thing that never made sense to me is, why did Skips not know that the answer was tomato paste? As we all know, regular show has made some episodes that are pretty dang weird. But this one might just be the weirdest out of all of them. It is so random and bizarre and weird and all over the place, but it's also freaking hilarious, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's pretty funny that a one-off joke in the first episode would lead to this episode and a couple others throughout the show.
A bunch of baby ducks, send them to the moon.
And there's not too much else to say about this one. It's just really funny, and the ducks are adorable. In my opinion, this was a great episode to start off the season. It feels like everything that a good regular show episode should be. It's really quirky and weird, it's got a really out there and creative plot, but it's also kind of relatable with Rigby being scared of the movie and Mordecai helping him to overcome that fear. For me, this is one of the most underrated regular show episodes. It's got a pretty funny twist at the end, and seeing Muscle Man freak out just never gets old.
Sick! Your joke wants spat soda in my face!
Personally, I've never really been a big fan of wrestling or WWE or any of that stuff, but I still love this episode. It's pretty funny that Pops, out of all people, is just super good at wrestling. This was a great season finale with a lot of great jokes, and I'm a big fan of karaoke, so that helps. And ever since I first saw this episode, I have never been able to listen to Footloose without thinking of Pops.
And I gotta cut loose, foot loose, kick off your Sunday shoes.
For me, this might actually be the most underrated episode of this show. Hearing Mordecai and Rigby talk like this is absolutely hilarious.
All merriment aside, perhaps you can assist me with this.
First of all, I want to contradict your earlier statement, Rigby.
As you can see by my counter theory, it is you who are dumber than me.
Tisk tisk, is that so?
Tisk tisk, yeah! Tisk
Tisk
tisk,
tisk,
tisk tisk, tisk tisk, tisk!
tisk, quorum he, vitio morianis.
Morianis! Morianis vestris incipiat rem totem!
Another really underrated one. Honestly, it's kind of hard to say why exactly I like this episode so much. I think it's just really fun, and it's yet another episode that takes the simplest premise possible and does something really crazy with it. And that ending is one of those things that, despite the fact that you have no idea what's actually going on, it's still hilarious. I really like how this episode focuses a lot on the sci-fi time travel element. And I mean, don't get me wrong, this was definitely not the first or the last time that regular show would do something like this, but I really like how this one does it in very classic regular show style. I don't think I've ever said this before, but Mark Hamill is one of my personal favorite actors. And I have always just found it so awesome and so funny that he is the voice of Skips. Also, I believe this was the first episode with Death. The character, I mean. In the early seasons of this show, there were a number of different really great episodes centered around video games, and this was definitely one of them. Also, Garrett Bobby Ferguson is probably one of this show's funniest villains. Not only is this episode absolutely hilarious and weirdly relatable, but it's also got one of my all-time favorite songs of any cartoon show ever.
Gonna gather all my friends and we'll party through the night. It's summertime and nothing's 11 in the summertime.
And also this one.
All snap, come to our macaroni party, we'll take a nap. All snap.
If you've seen some of my other videos, you probably know that I am a big fan of horror, and this episode is very horror related, so I love it for that. I also think that the idea behind this episode of having the characters show a scary movie at a cemetery and then all the bodies coming to life is really creative and just all around awesome. And finally, we have made it to number 1, which is Rage Against the TV. Remember how I said there were a lot of great video game related episodes? Well, this is another one of those. Again, it's kinda hard to say exactly why I like this episode as much as I do. Just like Gravesites, I think that the premise is really awesome and creative. I also really like how this episode utilizes pretty much all of the main characters, making them all play a big part. And it's also just really funny.
Try kicking him in the junk! Kick him in the junk! Kick him in the junk!
I'm kicking him in the junk.
We'll keep doing it!
Whoa! This is gonna be hilarious! Dude, take my picture! Oh no, bro.
And that is all the episodes. So something that I've noticed about this season that I've kind of been saying throughout this whole video is that a lot of these episodes start off with very simple and basic ideas, like making a viral video, getting skunked, and having a song stuck in your head, to name a few. But with all of these ideas, they always do something super original and crazy with them. Like in This Is My Jam, for example, it starts off with Rigby having a song stuck in his head that he wants to get out, but then the song leaves his head and transforms into a physical form, which causes the rest of the characters to have to work together to make an even catchier song to destroy the old one. You guys see what I mean here? But I think that this is definitely a very big compliment to the writers for being able to make such entertaining episodes out of such basic ideas. But with all this being said, what exactly do I think of this season as a whole? Well, not surprisingly, I really enjoy it. I think that it is definitely a step above Season 1, and Season 1 was already a good season. But Season 2 just feels like it takes everything that I loved about Season 1 and does it bigger and better. Sure, there were a few episodes that I didn't like, but overall, this season is just a really fun time. I'm gonna give regular show Season 2 an 8.7 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to help me out by giving it a like and subscribing to the channel if you have not already. And if you're a big fan of regular show, then feel free to let me know how you would rank these episodes in the comments below. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all next time.